Why'd you do it? Why'd you waste Cyrus?
No reason. I just like doing things like that.
In the war for New York streets, some gangs fought for power. Some fought for survival. But one gang, one man, fought for something darker. This is the story of chaos disguised as leadership, of a crew that pointed a mad dog at the world and paid the price when he bit back. Because in New York, you can control a lot of things, but you can't control a spark once it becomes a fire. New York, early 1970-something. A city cracking under pressure. The docks rot. The West Side Highway crumbles. Hell's Kitchen, once a home for immigrants and steelworkers, starts feeling like a battleground. In this world of rust, hunger, anger, and a whole lot of neglect, a gang starts to take shape. A gang that didn't fight for power, didn't fight for territory, didn't fight for reputation. They fought for something darker, something you can't reason with, chaos. This is the origin of the Rogues. Before the hearse, before the black leather, before the bottles clinking on the beach, before madness swallowed their leader whole. This is the story of how the Rogues rose, and how Luther, their brightest flame and their deadliest fuse, managed to burn half the city with just one trigger pull. The Rogues begin as dock rats, kids abandoned by industry, by the collapse of the working class, and by families torn apart under the weight of poverty. The gang forms under Rick Chains Moretti, a West Side bruiser with a vision. We take what's left. The early Rogues wear mismatched leather jackets, stolen police caps, mocking the same law that beats them down. And one night, at the base of Pier 88, they find them, a skinny, hungry, trembling teenager, sleeping under an overturned pallet. A kid with haunted eyes, and a grin that comes too damn easy. His name is Luther, 16, fresh out of a juvenile home. No family, no roots, no fear. Chains tests him in a street brawl. Luther doesn't fight like a soldier. He fights like something feral. The Rogues don't make Luther a member. They make him a weapon. Whenever they need destruction, they point him in a direction, and they light the fuse. He comes back laughing, blood on his knuckles, high off the adrenaline like it's air in his lungs. But chaos isn't something you control forever. In 1975, Chains tries to legitimize the Rogues, form alliances, negotiate peace, copy the structure of stronger outfits like the Hurricanes or the Saracens. The problem, Luther hates order. A weapons heist blows up in their faces, shots fired, chaos everywhere. Chains gets hit, shooter never identified. But the whispers, they say Luther pulled the trigger. The warehouse is silent. Chain's body has just been carried out, the blood still drying on the concrete. The Rogues stand in a loose circle, heads down, waiting for someone to speak, waiting for someone to lead, but nobody does. Then, without a word, Luther steps forward. He walks over to the rack where Chains kept the gang's vests. For a moment, he just stares at him, the leather stiff, worn, marked by years of fights and sweat. Then he reaches out, slow, deliberate, confident, in a way nobody had ever seen before. He slides Chain's black leather vest off the hook. The room tenses. Nobody moves. Luther slips his arms through it. It hangs a little big on him. He's leaner, smaller, but he straightens his back, lifts his chin, and suddenly, The vest fits in a way that chills every rogue in the room. He turns toward them, eyes bright and unhinged. Then he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a strip of torn black cloth, the beginnings of the headband he'll wear for the rest of his life. He ties it around his forehead, not tight, fabric pressed to his temple like some warped coronation ritual. A smirk curls across his face. Looks good, don't it? No one answers. Luther steps into the center of the room, cracks his neck, lets out a breathless little laugh. From that moment on, the rogues don't have a leader. Only a fuse they're too scared to stop. Hell's Kitchen becomes the rogues' territory. Factories empty, tenements crumble, and the rogues rise. They steal cars by night, shake down bars, run stolen guns off the docks, and they drive a black hearse Luther insists on keeping, a warped symbol of inevitability. The rogues still pretend they're keeping Luther on a leash, but the leash is fraying. He hears things. He sees messages in static-filled police scanners. He starts branding jackets with the skull and chain emblem, claiming chains spoke to him in a dream. Lieutenants like Burner and Hawk whisper about overthrowing him. But every time the gang talks about removing Luther, someone disappears. Nobody questions him again. A heatwave summer gives way to total darkness. The 1977 New York City blackout drops the entire city into chaos. Luther sees it as a sign. He climbs a rooftop, eyes wild, chest heaving, and he screams, "No light, no law!" The rogues go to work. They loot shops, torch rivals' turf, and move through the streets like shadows while the police collapse around them. During a gun deal in Pelham, everything goes sideways. Luther fires first, shoots a cop, and keeps the officer's revolver as a trophy. That gun, that very gun, will one day kill Cyrus. The rogues can see it now. Luther's slipping fast, but none of them can stop him. Every rogue is too afraid, too loyal, or too far gone. Then comes the phone calls. Luther starts talking to the Chain, swearing the Chain's Moretti is speaking to him through payphones scattered across the Bronx. He forces his boys to answer the phone for him. But every time, every single time, the line is silent. Luther doesn't hear silence. He hears approval. And the rogues, powerless, terrified, descend deeper under the rule of a man coming undone. Chains is long gone. Burner is dead. And now, Luther rules alone. By 1978, the rogues aren't a structured gang anymore. They're a fractured unit orbiting Luther's growing madness, without Chain's authority, without Burner's grounding presence. The rogues operate like caretakers trapped inside the unraveling mind of one man. Luther spends his nights in a half-collapsed tenement, obsessing over a disconnected payphone he swears is linked to a boss giving him instructions. But the others know the truth. There is no boss. The number never rings. The line is dead. To survive him, they invent a lie. Spider, the youngest with the softest voice, begins pretending to be the man Luther thinks he's calling. He whispers orders into the receiver just to keep Luther calm. Whispers, Yeah, Luther. You're doing good. Stay sharp." The rogues huddle outside the room, listening as Luther mutters back, pacing, sweating, scratching at imaginary bugs under his skin. Amphetamines are eating away whatever stability he had left. He laughs without warning. He cries just as suddenly. He repeats sentences in broken loops of paranoia. Hawk, now the reluctant lieutenant, tries directing the gang on short, contained missions, tags runs, small shakedowns. anything that might drain Luther's energy before it explodes. But it's already too late. Luther becomes consumed by a single delirious idea. A great ruler is rising, and that ruler wants to erase him. When he sees Cyrus on a newspaper, standing tall, speaking of unity, Luther becomes convinced. He wants my throne. And in that moment, the rogues understand something horrifying. Luther truly believes he was destined to rule all the gangs, and Cyrus is the imagined thief of his so-called birthright. The fuse is lit. The countdown has begun. Paranoia becomes prophecy. News spreads across New York. Cyrus is calling the largest gathering of gangs the city has ever seen. Hawk and the older rogues, they want to avoid it entirely. They fear Luther's gonna see the summit as a threat, or worse, an opportunity. They're right. Luther gets amped at the idea. Hyper, wired. He don't sleep. He don't blink right. He just keeps polishing that stolen Pelham revolver. The same one he used to kill a cop 2 summers back. Spider tries talking him down, using that fake boss voice. But Luther cuts him off. Sharp. He don't run me. Not anymore. At the summit, the rogues stand tight. Real tight. They're scared to let Luther drift even one step. But once Cyrus starts speaking, Luther's eyes glaze over. His breath gets ragged and he whispers, low, shaky. He's stealing my speech. He wants my power. While thousands cheer, Luther lifts the gun. The rogues see it too late. The shot cracks through the night. Cyrus drops, and with him, the city's fragile hope drops too. Luther smiles at the chaos he just birthed. The rogues yank him back, panicked, whispering, "What did you do? What did you do?" But Luther just repeats, soft, proud. I got the word. There's no leash left to pull. Only a monster I can't control anymore. The rogues flee, but not from the warriors. From Luther. They tear through the city in the black hearse. Their symbol of intimidation now a prison on wheels. Hawk drives, knuckles white. Spider clutches his bleeding leg. Luther shot him, just for suggesting they leave town. And the others, they stare at Luther the way prey watches a predator. Luther keeps demanding they stop at random payphones. Every time, he calls the same dead number. Again, and again, and again. He hears nothing but static. But to him, it's affirmation. Yeah, I know. I did it. I'll finish it. Nobody else hears anything. The rogues start whispering about abandoning him. But leaving Luther means facing the Riffs. Keeping Luther means facing Luther. It is a no-win war. Luther fixates on the warriors, the gang that saw him shoot Cyrus. They stole my moment. They stole my glory. This delusion hardens, shaping reality itself. The warriors must be punished for taking the credit he believes he deserves. By dawn, the rogues aren't hunting the warriors anymore. They're surviving Luther. The sky turns gray as the sun climbs over Coney Island. The warriors stand ready. The rogues stand shattered. And Luther, trembling, grinning, clinking bottles on his fingers like some deranged nursery rhyme no one else can hear. His mind is gone. His reality, broken. His fate, already sealed. He calls into the empty morning, voice sharp as broken glass.
Warriors!
The warriors brace, but before they can move, the beach goes silent. A low thunder, footsteps, rolls in from the boardwalk. The Riffs have arrived, row after row, shadow after shadow, a wave of black leather and authority swallowing the horizon. Hawk and the remaining rogues drop to their knees instantly, hands raised, desperate, defeated. They shout over each other. "It was him! Luther did it! We tried to stop him! We didn't fire the shot!" The Riffs don't even look at them. Masai steps forward, eyes locked on Luther. Not the cowards scrambling to shift blame. Hawk tries one last plea, voice cracking under the weight of it. "He's the shooter, not us! Luther killed Cyrus. We were scared of him." Masai finally turns his head. Slow, dismissive shake. Fear doesn't wash blood away. The rogues collapse into the sand, their betrayal useless, their desperation meaningless. Every attempt to expose Luther fails, because this was never their judgment. This judgment belongs to Luther alone. Luther keeps giggling. He doesn't kneel. He doesn't run. He doesn't even understand what's coming. Masai nods once. The Riffs move. They hit him like a pack of wolves. Fast, efficient, merciless. The way you put down a dangerous animal that's gone rabid. Luther still laughs during the first blows, lost in the fractured world he built from drugs, delusion, and ego. But the laughter stops. The violence is quick, overwhelming, absolute. The kind reserved not for enemies, but for creatures too far gone to reason with. The warriors look away. Even Hawk winces. There is no ceremony, no speech, no last words. A violent, necessary end, like putting down a mad dog. When it's over, the Riffs step back, breathing steady. The beach is silent except for the waves and the faint clatter of bottles rolling in the sand. Masai turns to the surviving rogues. Chaos ends here. The rogues lower their heads. They are not executed. They are dismissed, erased, stripped of identity. Their jackets, their chains, their authority, all meaningless now. Because without Luther, there is no rogues. And without madness, there's nothing left to fear. This was always the ending. From the moment Luther first smiled at violence, first heard a voice in the static, first slipped his arms through that black leather vest, there was never another road for him. Only this one. Straight to the beach at dawn. Straight to the Riffs. Straight to judgment. Straight to the end he created for himself. The rogues vanish from Hell's Kitchen. Their hearse is found burned on 10th Avenue. Their hangouts, empty. Their insignia, outlawed by the Riffs. Police records show no arrest of Luther. No trial. No body. Some say the Riffs disposed of him quietly. Urban legend says, if you walk Hell's Kitchen late at night and a payphone rings behind you, don't answer it. Because the line may still carry Luther's voice. Static, laughter, the echo of a madness that nearly destroyed the last chance for peace in New York. The rogues became a warning. Chaos can be a weapon, but once unleashed, destroys the ones who fired it. If you want more stories like this, deeper dives, darker corners of the Warriors universe, hit subscribe, tap that like button, and join us over at Real Reels, where every legend gets a second life.